Hi, this is a quick video on how you can change the look 100% of any page of your website, including the first page, without having to change the theme. And I wanted to give you some quick tips on this. This plugin here, that's the Elementor. This is a great tool, and for the most part, it's free. You can always upgrade to Pro, but there's a ton of free features, and you don't really need this unless you're really ready to customize your site to a whole nother level. But for the most part, you can just go to the pages. One thing I suggest is if you want to change a page, go ahead and create a new page rather than try to do an update on a current page, just so that you don't lose any features. And especially if it's the home page, you definitely don't want to be able to not go back if you don't like what you did. So if you add a new page, and you can name it whatever you want because you can always change it. So sample page. So let's say we're going to do a new home page. Sometimes once I name it, I save it as a draft just so that it's already kind of in the system. But once that stops spinning, you want to edit with Elementor. And the great thing about this is there's a lot of templates out there that people don't realize that are even there if you're not familiar with this platform. But again, it's one of the easiest, best page builders that's 100% free. There's plenty that you can spend a lot of money on that look almost identical to this. So I just wanted to go through a few steps on it. So if this is your original home page and this is how it looks, you don't necessarily have to like grab different components as far as throwing an image, different things like that. What I like to do is go into this template and it'll say the page builders, because rather than build it from scratch from blocks, it's so much easier if you have a template. So these are the ones that are available with the Pro version. And again, you're always able to upgrade as you need. But I think when you're starting out, you can do these versions. So you can just look at the ones that are free and kind of pick out, and they do have whether it's made for a landing page. So in other words, there's not a lot of information. It's mainly call to action buttons and some information. Some of them are a home page, but it's a really good thing for a simple landing page, especially if you just have some elements. So wanted to kind of look through simple, but it looks like you spent a lot of time on it. If you have a local business, I kind of like doing something like this or this or this with a built-in map. It's already got some different things in it. So let's just go ahead and pick this, and it'll tell you how it's going to look. And the nice thing is you can pretty much change everything about it. So everything that's here, the different informations, the different images, you can see how it'll look before you insert it. So I kind of changed my mind on that real quick. Another note is there are some really nice holiday themes, a lot of sales pages and different things like that. So this is one that's always fun because it's got a lot of features built in. This is some footer image things. Of course, if you have events, breakfastas, this is kind of what it's really fun. Really nice, simple landing page so that it can show off all your features. So once you insert it, it doesn't take that long. One of the keys is when we insert it, it's going to take on the typical template. So what we want to do is under the settings, we want to say the page layout is full width Elementor. And what that will do is take it and put it across the whole page. And the wonderful thing about that is if you already have a menu or other things, it should show up at the top. If you do Elementor Canvas, no menu will show up at the top, but just so in other words, this will be like a landing page, whereas the other one will look like a normal page, if you can see the difference. Okay, so the other wonderful thing about this, if you ever want to see what it'll look like full page, you can look at it like that. If you want to see what it'll look like on a tablet, you can do like that, or a small screen. So you can actually see how things will look when you do it like that. So if you want to do a featured image, you can. I kind of like to stick with the desktop. Again, when you do that full width eliminator or Elementor, if you have a menu up here, it'll still show, and that's a good tip. So if you want to change this first image, you just click on that first image, that first block. Oh. If you right click, you can edit section. If it's not clicking, usually there's a bar up here that'll show up that looks like this. This is the section below it. If you want to edit the section above it. So this would be the second section. This will be the top section. So if you don't see that little thing, you can just right click. But sometimes the picture is in the style rather than in the content. And so to change that, it's really easy. You can just grab another picture of something. And this is a fun one. It's got a lot of color in it. But again, you can have that on there with all of those features image. So you can set the size to be cover, contain, and some of the shapes and overlay. So this has a lot of padding on top and bottom. I'm going to take that away so that it doesn't take as much space, but we do need a little bit. So rather than 100, I'm going to give it 100 on both sides. So you can get a little bit, but that way it's not taking up the whole top. Also, this bottom overlay, this is in the style, and this is kind of fun in the shape divider. So you can do the shape divider. There's none on the top. The one on the bottom is drops, but you can do waves, you know, brushes, different things like that. So you could just have a simple curve, especially for a little bit of a tilt or something like that. So it doesn't have to be crazy, but you can also change the width and some of those things. So I just wanted to show you that so that you can see what's going on with that. So this is where we had a lot of blocks and the different icons that you can have. One of the things that I don't know if you're seeing, but the background is that light blue. That also can be changed based on the background information. So see how this background color is blue? If you want to make that section white, or if you want to make that section a lighter green or something like that, you can always do that, especially with this being so light. You can even go gray, or I was thinking, so again, I kind of like the fact that you can change any given of those if you want. So you can change these icons. There's a whole list of icons. This is a background. You can see the library of icons as far as, sometimes it's just easier to do a ornate, but you can do your address, you can do the different things. You can also insert any one of those elements. So to get back to something you can insert, if you wanted to add in something, you obviously grab any of these. The nice thing is you can grab the buttons to change this icon or to change the color of the icon. You can even change it to a square. Obviously that would be a headache to change all three of them. The other thing is the background of that is this color. Again, you can change it to a clear or blue or, you know, any sort of color you want. If you do that and then you want to get back to the original, you can go to this history and go back to your original edit. And then that way you can update it to the edited history. If you ever make a mistake or ever want to go back, you can go to this list of things you've changed. Every time you make a change, it records the change, so you can always go back. You can also see previous revisions of when you've saved it last, so you can always go back to previous saves. So hopefully that makes it really easy. But again, this is where we kind of set some of the boxes. We can set these different things, the colors and different things like that. So if you want to build your own home page, you have a huge list of templates, and everything within that template you can do based on what you click on. So again, you can either click on here and it'll bring up the editor version of that template where you can change the style, or you can right click usually and edit that section. Whatever you're clicked on, you can edit that way. So if you can't find that side button, you can do it that way. You can also always delete. You can do the navigator. You can move them around. You can grab full sections. If you grab the section here, you can grab full sections and move them around too, or you can put them above or below. So hopefully that was a good indicator of how to use the Elementor to create an entire page very, very quickly.